In the center of conflict and challenges, it is the leadership of African women that continues to reshape and define Africa's destiny. Liberian President Sirleaf Johnson, Nobel Peace Prize laureate and Liberian peace activist Lema Boye, the newly elected Malawian President Joyce Banda are a few of the many African women leaders transforming the political and economical landscape of their nations in the 21st century. My name is Mariama Siri Keïta, and I'm a native New Yorker by birth and African by blood. My mother is of Black American and Puerto Rican heritage, and my father is from Conakry, Guinea. I always felt connected to my African roots, inspired by my father's dignity and pride of his country, and my mother's amazing stories of her own travels to Africa in the late 1960s. It is from these rich experiences and inspiration by my academic research that I decided to introduce to the world the rich legacy of women's leadership in Guinea and their historic contributions to African history. I started my journey by road, leaving Conakry to head towards the villages in the Fouta Djallon region, an ethnically Fulani territory. Nadine Barry, founder of Guinea Solidarité, one of the oldest NGOs in Conakry, for the past 25 years and at the age of 72, has dedicated her life to helping the socially and physically handicapped, particularly in the areas that the government ignores. Stopping through many towns and markets along the way, I was intrigued by observing today's market women, for history has proven that their leadership was instrumental in Guinea's liberation struggles from French colonial rule in 1958. Dr. Saran Daraba, General Secretary of the Mana River Union, based in Sierra Leone, is the first woman to create a political party to run for presidency in Guinea in 2010. In our conversation, she shed some light on the historic legacy of women's leadership in Guinea.
Women movement was part of the struggle for the independence, and so they have been really key actors. They play really a critical role in the independence movement, but also they have at the same time to ensure that women have their own position. The helicopter, the presidential helicopter, was driven by a woman, Colonel Fatoumata Binta Diallo. And we had women in the gendarmerie, in the police, in the army, so in the marine. So, and also women have been appointed as governor, as ministers, not too much. Only two or three women have been appointed ministers. But at lower level, I mean, where the power, the real power is, women were there. And they were asked to do more than men. And that time, the first ambassador, woman, female ambassador at the UN was a Guinean, Mrs. Jean Martin Cissé. She was the first female ambassador at the UN, and in fact, she chaired the UN Security Council meeting, which was at that time a big achievement.
So we just stopped here, and I just wanted to let you know that we're about to go into the village of Masi and meet about 20 to 28 rural women who are going to share their stories about what their life is like in the village of Masi. My name is Mariama Diallo. I've been working here for 12 years, and this year, thank God, the NGO Guinea Solidarité provided financial aid to us. But we've been doing this for a very long time. We've been farming tomatoes, onions, lettuce, and potatoes. This farm is our business that will help us widows to take care of our children and the few of us that have husbands. We use the money from our farming to keep our children in school, the needs we have for ourselves, and half of the money we bank it at the base of our Women's Association, a group of 28 women. It is not easy for us. Most of us are widows and we have a lot of children. We have to do everything for them. The few of us who still have their husbands, they are not receiving any support from them because men living in the village cannot support us. Despite Guinea having an entrenched patriarchal society with over a 90% Muslim population, Nadine Barry agrees and describes how most of the time men don't have financial resources to care for their families, or they don't even look for monetary resources. Women do. She says in Guinea, 2 to 3 farmers are women. In addition to poverty, access to healthcare is a major challenge. The first words out of the other farmer next to Mariama: "I am sick, and since God brought you here, I would like you to buy my medicine. My husband is not here and I'm very poor." Mariama continues to describe that only $3.50 per individual can cover health care insurance for the entire year through an international NGO called Nantes Guinea. In a resource-rich country of gold, diamonds, and bauxite, these women continue to suffer from poverty and their inability to pay for health care. As we left the village in Kambakomasi, our next stop was Mamu, a Guinea Solidarité training center for disabled women and men, a huge part of the population that is overlooked and ignored by state actors.
This center was created by Guinea Solidarité Marseille in 2006, so it's been 7 years now that the center exists in Mamu, and it is a training center for handicapped people, boys and girls, and we have different area of training. They are trained in mechanics, in sewing, in how to make shoes. How do you say?
Shoes.
Built like leather shoes, and they have also French classes. They learn how to count, how to read, and to write.
During our drive back to Conakry, amazed at the complete absence of state intervention providing for its citizens. As Guinea claims democracy status in 2010, it is clear that the historic momentum of women's participation in the public space has been broken. The question is, why and what happened?
After the coup in 1984, the soldiers, when they came in power, they said, okay, women, we have seen you enough. Out of the game. Go to the kitchen. Just do your work as women, wives, and mothers. And that is what we are asking from you. And during 10 years, it was not possible for the Guineans really to be part of the decision-making process in Guinea with the army. And it is only in 1992 that they started to be aware on the fact that without women they won't have development in the country. And then they started, they created the Ministry for Women and Children in 1992, and then later the Ministry for Social Affairs, Women, Promotion and Children Affairs. And since then they are having policies, but these policies have not been enough strong to encourage women leadership.
So I decided to pay a visit to Kofi Annan, which is one of the top universities in Guinea, to meet with young women to figure out for myself if Dr. Sarandaraba's statement was true. My name is Delphine Kamara, and I'm a master's degree student in telecommunications. I believe the educational system is designed and set up to make women submissive. Some men avoid being with women who are highly educated because they will think that she is difficult and demanding. That is why many men say that they don't want to marry a woman that has a university degree. My name is Mariama Diallo, and I'm a student in telecommunications. In Guinea, particularly young girls do not go to school or they drop out at junior high school. The reason is because some of them are forced to get married. It is very rare to see girls attend university here. My name is Fatamata Binta Giraoui, and I'm a law student here, and on the contrary, believe things are getting better now for women. There are many women in school now, many women in universities, but most of these women still feel the complex of inferiority when they have to challenge men or face them. I continue to say inequality between men and women starts with basic education with our parents. They cultivate in our mind that men are always superior to women. Girls are assigned at home to do only domestic jobs, such as cleaning the house, and others, while all men are always outside. It is clear that all of these women have potential to be leaders in their communities, careers, and in the political arenas if they have the right support systems from civil society and state actors. So what is the role of the state actor?
The state must have its own policy for women to be at the right place in the right moment. That is lacking now.
And would you attribute that policy to be education?
Now, education is part of it, of course. Of course. Now you see that we are talking about the girls' education. But the girls' education is what I would say, it is a word. In fact, girl education cannot be only going to school. Leadership is not only going to school. Going to school will give a tool to a girl or a woman to be a good leader. But the leadership has to be, let us say, implemented in a way that when you lead, you are really a leader, not a ruler. And that is something really we must be aware of. We must take it in consideration and say that, yes, we wanted to be where we need to be, in fact, but because without women, Guinea won't go forward.
In the meantime, young Guinean women like Madusu Kande, a student studying to become a surgeon, Fatamata Binta, a student of law who dreams to become a leader in the Guinean parliament, have to create their own sense of agency and remain committed to rise above social, cultural, and political challenges. Throughout my 11-day journey, I have met extraordinary women, political elites, unsung heroes, entrepreneurs, farmers, disabled women in rural areas, and university students in urban settings. It is only expected through the passing of time that intellectual freedom and expanded sphere of politics will increase for women. It is through the historic contributions of market women leaders in the villages that young women must not forget and draw inspiration from them to lead, transform, and redefine Guinea's history as an emerging democracy.